Before the term heavy metal even existed, some bands were already pushing rock into heavier, darker territory. In smoky clubs across the US and UK, a few pioneers cranked up the volume, distorted their guitars, and laid the groundwork for what metal would become. Today we're taking a closer look at 10 obscure metal pioneers from the 1960s, the missing links in metal's evolution. Stick around, one of these might just blow your mind. Number 1. Blue Cheer. Few bands hit the late 60s as hard as this San Francisco trio. Their 1968 debut wasn't just loud, it was explosive. Raw, distorted, and unapologetically aggressive, this act took the blues and stripped it down to something heavier and more primal. Their version of Summertime Blues became a blueprint for early metal. Thunderous drums, growling bass, and fuzzed-out guitar that sounded like it could blow out speakers. It wasn't subtle, and that was exactly the point. The rest of Vince Busaruptum followed suit with relentless energy. The album is often cited as one of the first true heavy metal records. Even Jim Morrison once said they were the only band louder than him. Despite the noise, they were quickly overshadowed by more polished acts, but their sonic footprint never faded. Number 2. High Tide. In 1969, this British band released one of the heaviest and most unusual albums of the decade. With only 2 records to their name during their original run, they fused swirling psychedelia with crushing guitar riffs and electric violin, a combination that sounded completely unhinged for the time. Their debut Sea Shanties was a dense, brooding collection of songs full of eerie atmosphere and near doom-level weight. The interplay between guitar and violin was chaotic yet hypnotic, giving the album an almost otherworldly tension. It wasn't easy listening, but it was unforgettable. Despite critical dismissal on release, the album would later become a cult classic among proto-metal and underground psych fans. Their raw heaviness and bleak tone made them one of the earliest bridges between psychedelic rock and what would become doom metal. Number 3. The Misunderstood. Originally from California but relocated to London in the mid-60s, this group created some of the most intense and forward-thinking music of the decade, long before heavy was part of the vocabulary. Their sound combined psychedelia with fierce distortion, raga-style guitar, and a rebellious edge. Tracks like Children of the Sun and I Can Take You to the Sun featured searing guitar tones and unnerving tension that hinted at proto-metal. They took the British blues influence and twisted it into something far more abrasive and far more daring than their peers. Sadly, their momentum collapsed almost overnight. Immigration issues, conscription, and label conflicts broke up the band just as they were gaining steam. Still, those early recordings have since been hailed as visionary, loud, aggressive, and decades ahead of their time. Number 4. The Gun. You better run from the devil's gun. This British power trio didn't release much, but their 1968 self-titled debut made a serious impact. With a mix of heavy riffs, orchestral flourishes, and war-themed lyrics, they delivered one of the earliest hard rock tracks to break into the charts, Race with the Devil. That single alone featured blistering guitar work and a thunderous rhythm section that set them apart from their psychedelic peers. The rest of the album leaned into the same explosive sound, combining proto-metal energy with dramatic arrangements that felt cinematic and aggressive. Despite early promise, the band never capitalized on the momentum. Two of the members later joined Three-Man Army and Baker Gurvitt's Army, but this debut remains a key turning point, marking the moment British rock started flirting with metal's weight and intensity. Number 5. The Deviants. Born out of the London underground scene, this group was loud, chaotic, and completely unfiltered. Fronted by counterculture provocateur Mick Farron, they blended garage rock with abrasive psychedelia, creating a sound that was more confrontational than commercial. Their 1967 debut, Toof, was raw and ragged, full of fuzzed-out guitars, snarling vocals, and anarchic energy that made even the edgiest British bands sound tame. They weren't afraid to get political, weird, or downright noisy, making them cult icons in avant-garde circles. Though they never found mainstream success, their influence bled into early punk and noise rock. For metal historians, they mark a clear link between garage rebellion and the heavier, darker tones that would follow in the 70s. That's 5 obscure pioneers from the 1960s, each one louder and stranger than the last. How many of these names did you already know? And which one do you think deserves a second life on today's playlists? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you've got a hidden favorite from the 60s that we didn't mention, I want to hear it. Let's see how deep your rock knowledge goes. Number 6. The Human Instinct. All the way from New Zealand came a trio that brought fuzzed-out blues and psychedelic heaviness to a whole new level. By the late 60s, their sound had evolved into something wild, full of wah-drenched guitar solos and pounding drums that bordered on proto-metal intensity. Their 1969 album Burning Up Ears showcased this raw transformation. But it was Stoned Guitar, 1970, recorded shortly after, that truly cemented their heavy credentials. Billy TK's guitar work was fiery, unhinged, and overflowing with distortion, pushing their blues rock roots into much heavier terrain. Despite their obscurity outside of New Zealand, collectors and underground rock fans have kept their name alive. Few bands from that region, or era, played with such power, making them a true hidden force in early heavy music. Number 7. Zior. Formed in the late 60s in the UK, this band took occult rock theatrics and paired them with gritty, riff-heavy grooves. Their self-titled debut dropped in 1971, but the material and lineup had been brewing in the underground since the end of the 60s, channeling early Sabbath vibes with a looser, more psych-influenced edge. Their songs combined bluesy licks with eerie organ lines, doomy guitar tones, and lyrics full of witchcraft and surrealism. wasn't polished, and that was part of the appeal. They felt like a bar band from the dark side, messy but undeniably heavy. Though they were mostly ignored by critics and failed to chart, Zior gained a second life among proto-metal fans and vinyl hunters. For those digging through the roots of occult and doom rock, this act sits right at the entryway. Number 8. Edgar Broughton Band. With a name that sounded more folk than ferocious, this British outfit caught many listeners off guard. By the end of the 60s, they were churning out aggressive, politically charged rock that flirted with proto-metal intensity, all wrapped in a heavy psychedelic haze. Their 1969 debut, Wassa Wassa, delivered snarling vocals, distorted guitar chaos, and an unhinged energy that felt almost punk in attitude. Tracks like Death of an Electric Citizen pushed boundaries with fuzz-drenched riffing and unpredictable shifts in tempo and mood. They never fit into the mainstream or even the neatly defined underground scenes. But that refusal to conform is exactly what gave them staying power. Raw, rebellious, and often overlooked, this group carved out a noisy corner in the foundation of heavy rock.
In the sky was a city.
Number 9, The Frost. Detroit in the late 60s was a breeding ground for loud, rebellious rock, and this band was right in the middle of it. Led by guitarist and vocalist Dick Wagner, who would later work with Alice Cooper and Lou Reed, the group delivered blistering live shows and sharp, fuzz-heavy songwriting. Their 1969 albums, Frost Music and Rock and Roll Music, blended garage rock grit with soaring lead guitar lines and a heavier, more muscular sound than most of their peers. Wagner's playing in particular stood out, melodic but ferocious, laying the groundwork for his later hard rock contributions. Despite strong regional success in Michigan, national fame never followed. Still, the Frost left behind a trail of raw energy and guitar fire that makes them one of the most unjustly overlooked bands from the Detroit scene. Number 10, Power of Zeus. This Detroit-based band delivered one of the earliest examples of American proto-doom. Their 1969 album, The Gospel, according to Zeus, was packed with slow, heavy riffs, gritty vocals, and lyrics steeped in mysticism and moral conflict, all the ingredients that would later define stoner and doom metal. While the record leaned into blues and hard rock traditions, its atmosphere was darker, its tone more ominous. Tracks like It Couldn't Be Me and No Time carried a weight and distortion level few others dared to touch that early on. They were signed to Rare Earth Records, a Motown imprint, which didn't quite know how to market a band this heavy. As a result, they vanished as quickly as they appeared. But over time, their lone album became a cult classic among crate diggers and doom historians alike. That's 10 obscure metal pioneers from the 60s, loud, raw, and way ahead of their time. Want more forgotten heaviness? Check out our other deep dives into obscure metal bands from the 70s and 80s. The riffs only get louder.